What's going on? Will Freeman, RevolutionaryLifestyleDesign.com, talking to you today about why you need to commit to happiness as your primary priority and not just fucking say it, but actually do it. Like you're actually going to be happy, and that is why you exist. Because at the end of the day, when you actually think about it, everything you do is for pleasure. I'm not talking about hedonism or anything like that. I'm just using pleasure as a positive state being the combination of your thoughts, sensations in your body, and emotions. Those combine to make up your state. Your entire life is nothing but a series of state changes from birth until death. Every single human wants to be in as positive state as possible. And that would be like a bliss state. Even people who do horrendous acts do it because they get some type of warped, twisted sense of pleasure from it. Because they have a warped, twisted reality through trauma, basically. But ultimately, everyone would choose a bliss state, right? If there was a pill with no side effects that would put you into bliss every day, everyone would choose that. And money and women and all the other things would no longer matter because you would naturally have access to that constant state of bliss. I believe that's what the state that the awakened beings, Christ, Buddha, return to. Unfortunately, that type of awakening, that type of escape from the matrix is not very common, and not easy to come by per se. So what I offer to you is the game of life, the middle ground between sort of the aesthetic and the material, between, living in a monastery or something and pure, empty, hedonistic materialism, with the idea that you are trying to maximize the bliss, the enjoyment that you get out of life, because you're already fucking doing that anyways. Everybody around you is trying to do that. Everyone around you is trying to move towards pleasure and move away from pain. It is human nature. Every single action you take, thought, word you speak, you're trying to move towards something that's going to interest you. A romantic relationship, money, nice weather, having a conversation with a friend. That's all to feel good. You feel good when someone's, being nice to you and you're having fun. You feel good when you're laughing. You feel good when you have something interesting to read. You feel good when you're outside in nice weather. You feel good when you're making money because it increases your success and the amount of things that you can buy and your freedom. You feel good when you have a romantic relationship because you can give and show love. What's the common thread here is that you feel good, all right? Even people who are unhappy are still trying to feel good, but they don't get to pleasure, but they're at least trying to move away from pain, okay? And if you don't believe me, how many people are just putting knives through their legs, right? Nobody, right? Nobody wants that kind of pain. And if they do, it's because they have a warped sense of pleasure where they like to hurt themselves, and that gives them a sense of pleasure, a masochist. But it's still pleasure that they're chasing. It's still that I shouldn't use pleasure, I should say a state of enjoyment. Whether that state is interest, whether that state is love, whether that state is, all these things. Everybody wants to feel physically healthy. Everybody wants to feel happy. Everybody wants to get enjoyment out of life. So happiness is already your everyone's primary priority, but most people are absolutely shit terrible at pursuing it and live unconscious lives and are completely unaware and don't make it a conscious priority like profit in business, right? Like the business is profitable, that's the primary priority, and you're trying to increase revenues year over year and you're measuring that revenue year over year, okay? A business is way less important than your personal happiness levels. The whole fucking point of the business is to increase your personal happiness level so you don't have to work a job and you can have freedom and you can buy all the things that you want, okay? So happiness is the end goal. Consistent, like being in as best possible state, as consistent as possible is the entire purpose of what everyone's doing here, regardless of what they say. Regardless of what they say. Everybody's trying to be in a good state as much as possible. But most people are just shit terrible at it. And they're unconscious, they're unaware, and they have no guards around their state. Like if state was a castle, they have no guards. They're pulled away by politics. They're pulled away by, getting angry over Trump or Hillary or any of these other things, or they're pulled away by someone says something to them, or they're pulled away by a news story, or they're pulled away by something their mom said or whatever. And they go into anger, they go into envy, they go into depressed, they go into all these other areas. Not because they want to be angry. Nobody wants to be angry. No one wants to be depressed. No one wants to be all these things. And believe me, it's a daily struggle for me just as it is for you. But I at least know what the fuck I'm trying to do, right? Just like in business, I'm trying to make a profit. In life, I'm trying to be in the best possible state at all times. And I'm committed. I'm firmly committed to that. I've been able to let go of so much baggage and reframe so many situations simply for the fact that I just think to myself, hey, I don't want to be angry right now. Hey, I don't want to be sad about this. Hey, I don't want to be a victim, because bad things happen to victims. I don't feel good when I'm a victim. I don't feel good when I'm sad. I don't feel good when I'm angry, right? I can let go of things in 2 minutes that used to take me 2 days to get through. My state control when I was 18, 19, 20 was terrible because I didn't know it was a fucking thing, right? It wasn't until I started reading Buddhism and I started reading Tony Robbins that I figured out, like, wow, you actually have massive control over how you feel. Feelings do not come to you. Feelings are not imposed on you. Feelings are controlled by you. Every feeling you have comes from you. Therefore, you can control every single feeling. You can manage your entire reality. You can manage your entire state, regardless of circumstance. Regardless of circumstance. Now, that's the inner game, but the outer game, the structural game, also you want to create as much to make it as easy as yourself as possible, right? Like, don't do crime because then you could end up in prison, right? And now it's much harder. It's 10 times harder to be in a positive state when you're in a prison cell than when you're out here in the free world being able to do what you want to do, okay? Put good people around you. But at the end of the day, the outer game, the structural solutions, and the inner game are all the same. It all comes down to state, okay? And if you want to think of it like this. You have an emotional bank account, and that's something that you should be measuring. And every day you want to be trying to fill up that emotional bank account as much as possible. And all the things that you do are just tools to fill up that emotional bank account. Your relationships with women, with your friends, your business, fitness, the self-image, wearing nice clothes, buying nice things. All that comes down to buying state or investing in state or getting state. Like, imagine all those things are like all the flashing lights in the casino and the people walking around and the chips and the pretty girls and all that. And literally all that stuff exists for that cold gray count room in the back where they're just counting quarters, right? And it's a bunch of gray guys just counting quarters like in the first scene of Casino. That's state. That's where, like, so all this stuff that we do from morning until night, all this stuff I talk about, playing the game of life, health, wealth, relationships, lifestyle, maxing all that, is literally just to be in a good state. So at least fucking commit to like having state as your primary priority. Start with the end in mind and recognize that it's a thing, and recognize like, hey, I am not going to keep allowing myself excuses to be out of state because X, because my girlfriend said something, or because there's problems in my business. Put the state first, regardless of what's going on, or at least recognize it, commit to it as a primary priority, and really work hard at it. That's at least a massive step towards the battle of like just being adrift at sea like most people and totally unconscious of it, and just, getting hammered from all sides by all these different things that that you choose to not take responsibility for, not take control of, and not be able to, consistently be in state. Like, if everybody imagine if everybody made a commitment to happiness as their primary priority. We've already seen what it looks like when people make commitments to political parties and political systems and different religions. It looks like war. It looks like constant conflict. It looks like combat. Imagine if everybody made a commitment to happiness. We'd be able to walk down the streets and like smile at each other and shake hands and hug people, and people wouldn't steal because stealing doesn't make you happy, and people wouldn't kill each other because that doesn't make you happy, and people wouldn't rape or torture because that doesn't make you happy. And we'd actually live in like a functional world. Corruption would probably be minimal. I mean, it's never going to happen, but like, imagine if people were actually awake and aware and online, and able to do this. Like, that's not just for yourself, but that's like the best thing that you can do for the world, because you're not going to change the world, but like when you're in a positive state, you're able to generate that around you, and maybe you have a brand like I do, and then you're able to like push that out to millions of people. So not just for yourself, but for others is a huge thing. And look, we're not perfect. I mean, hour by hour, I'm reframing this, trying to get state here, trying to get state there. It's a constant battle, but at least I'm in the game, and at least I'm committed to it. And it really is my primary priority with everything else that I do, basically designed to bring that to me. Now, one important caveat. Okay, this is not an excuse for you to live 100% in the moment, or for the day. That's what dogs do. Okay, because otherwise you just do black tar heroin and you'd be in state for today. Okay, 50% for today, 50% for the future. When you're at least 50% for the future, you're not going to do hardcore drugs, because you know that within a month will just like decimate your state and your life and your reality. The same thing with any type of easy money, like crime or something like that. So you're at least 50% in the future. But then like 50% for today, you should have, at least doing like 2 or 3 things that you enjoy every day, and trying to enjoy as much of your work as possible. And if your work's not enjoyable, really putting all your effort into like moving towards a business that you're actually going to enjoy, or finding areas of your business to enjoy and delegating the rest. So that's it. If you want help with state control, revolutionarylifestyledesign.com/coaching, or go ahead and pick up one of my products over there. And if you're not subscribed to my YouTube channel, make sure to subscribe, hit that notification, holler at your boy in the comment section. Thank you so much. Much love to you. All the best.